Hi guys, welcome back to the Player YouTube channel, and you join me today with the electric 208, otherwise known as the E-208. Let's get around it, let's get underneath it, get it out on the road and give you our evaluation of this new car from Peugeot. Okay, let's start by taking a look under the bonnet of this little electric car from Peugeot. The bonnet release, by the way, is in the passenger side if it's a right-hand drive, and obviously it'll be driver's side if it's left-hand, because they're not going to swap it around. The actual bonnet release is just slightly offset on the front. They just clip it up. Very light bonnet, or hood, if you're in America. And it's got a little stay over here that you can put over there. So, here we go. Not much to look at. However, this is a 50 kilowatt motor, and it will propel this car from 0 to 60 in about 8 seconds, which isn't bad. The range on this, Peugeot tell us, when it's brand new, and I've got to stress that when it's brand new, it has a range of around 210 miles, which isn't bad when you think that to yourself. You're only going to be using it for pottering up backwards and forwards to the shops. However, after a few months of driving this car, the battery will start to deplete. And when I mean deplete, it's a bit like if you've owned a mobile phone, you'll know exactly what I'm talking about. When you first get it, it lasts all day without charging. And it will do that for months on end. But eventually, you suddenly start finding you're charging it in the middle of the day because it's dropped a little bit. So what this is cell depletion. So the battery is made up of cells, and gradually they die, and they can't be replaced. And eventually, the whole thing will die and it won't go anywhere. So we're not going to talk today about replacing batteries on these, because there is a whole thing to talk about on that, but I'm not going to bore you with all that. This car at the moment is getting around about 167 miles. It's about 6 months old. Another thing to bear in mind, guys, when you're buying an electric car, that might say I've got 167 miles, but if I get out and it starts raining and it gets cold and the lights start going a little bit dark and the lights have to come on this and the wipers have to come on, and I think you get where I'm going. That 167 miles you thought you had suddenly can drop to as little as 50, 60 miles, and then the panic starts to set in. But we'll talk about that bit when we get this car out on the road. The first thing I want to mention before we talk all the other bits, check out this lovely grille on the front here. That is so nice. Now, all the 208s carry exactly the same. So from the outside, apart from the badge, they all look identical. The actual 208 was developed as an electric car, but then they realised it was going to be so popular, they had to suddenly introduce petrol engines and diesel engines as well. But anyway, we're here to talk about the electric car today. It comes with these nice lights. It's got these running lights down here. The whole thing, absolutely stunning. Really love this car, so good looking. There are 4 different trim levels, but we'll talk about those when we get inside, because that is where most of the differences are on the inside when it comes to the trim. Let's get round the back and see what it's like inside the boot. Round at the back, it's a very pretty car. It remains pretty all the way around this car. And also you'll notice here, this whole area is very 205, that old sort of, 205 shape, that rear haunches that it used to have. However, this one won't kill you, if you get my drift, if you ever owned one or driven one. Across the back here, you get this nice big plastic diffuser over here with the brake light built in. Now, the good thing about these is they deflect not only the wind to make it more aerodynamic, but also all the mud and the muck that comes off the road. And that will just shoot straight over the top without clouding the vision here at the back. However, if you do get a lot of dirt on the back here, you have a wash wipe, which comes as standard with all the different models as well. There's a big plastic piece runs across the middle there to these beautiful LED lights on the corners here, and they again represent the claws of the lion. If you look, there's 3 claws, like he's going like that at the back. Really like all these little touches, these details are really nice. I love the low slung back as well. It's got almost a diffuser style at the back here, and you get a large fog light in the middle there as well. All in all, I mean, as I said, a very, very pretty car, and I think it does the old 205 a lot of justice. Let's have a look inside and see how much literage there is inside this car. The rear boot release is just under there, so you put your fingers in there. There isn't an electrically assisted version of this, however it's not that heavy, and you've got these nice struts here to help you lift it up. It comes with the horrible, well, as you can see, it's already twisted all over the place, the parcel shelf that we seem to have adopted in these cars. I mean, manufacturers, come on, please. There's nowhere to put this if you're out and you have to put the seats down. It's going to be in the way. You're going to end up sat with it on your lap. That's about the only place you can put it, because there's nowhere underneath here. You can slide it out the way. Now, normally I throw these away. Do you know what? I've got to the point, I'm absolutely fed up with throwing these away. As this is the electrically propelled version of the 208, the E208, it comes with a set of charging leads, which are neatly packed away in this little bag here. What it doesn't come with, and I need to make a point of this, it does not come with a home charging kit like a lot of the other cars do come with it. In this particular one, you have to purchase it extra. So just to bear that in mind. And also, if you want one of those home charging stations, you know, like where you just drive in and you can just plug it in like a petrol thing, that will cost you around £500 or £600 extra, including fitting. And that will also only give you pretty much not more than 7 kilowatts an hour, which is basically a trickle charge. So this car from basically zero will take 8 to 9 hours to fully charge. Obviously, you're not going to run it right down. You're going to be plugging it back in and plugging it out, you know, as you come in and out. So it does work. It's much better to have the home charging unit. There are government grants as well, guys. If you're buying the E-208, have a look online. There's definitely government grants for the actual purchase price and the tax saving initiatives, and also you do get some money back towards having those chargers fitted. You have to check it out because it changes all the time and it changes every year. So if you're watching this 3 years down the line, it's probably completely out of date anyway. But as of 2021, there are tax initiatives. Go and check them out. Right, inside the boot here, let's move the cables out the way because I want to show you. I'm going to put them on the floor there. There's absolutely nothing in here to show you. There you go, done, easy. Well, we do have to mention it, obviously. There's 300 litres of boot space. It's not a lot, and also, if you want to put a set of golf clubs in here, we tried earlier, I can't be bothered to show you today, but take it on my word, you can't get your golf clubs in here. It's not wide enough for a set of golf clubs, so not really the car that you're going to be taking to the golf club, is it? Underneath here, well, there isn't anything underneath here. There is a little puncture repair kit and one of those little pumps. Now, I'm going to pull this out because I keep talking about these things. This is what you get. They call it a puncture repair kit, basically. So you're out on the road, you've just got your puncture, and what you do is you release this into the tyre, it's a liquid, and then you pump it back up, and it all works lovely. No, it doesn't. Definitely doesn't. These things, I really want to throw them because it happened to me a few weeks ago in a different car, and I tried it, the first time I'd ever done it, and the gunge went everywhere. We ended up having to replace the tyre. That's how bad it was, because it completely ruined it. Manufacturers, please get rid of all this silly system that you brought in and these silly pumps and give us space savers, you know, little wheels that we can put in here that will look after us. Because if you hit a curb or you accidentally break the wheel or somehow damage the wheel, all the puncture repair kits in the world are not going to get you out of trouble. You're going to end up sat on the side of the road waiting 2, maybe 3 or even 4 hours for the recovery services to come and get you. So I think the lesson is here, if we're going to buy a car, wouldn't it be better if we paid like $100 or so pounds extra for that little space saver that can go in there? I think that's seriously. Anyway, just over 300 litres of boot space. Very easy just to reach over here and put the seats down. Now what you will notice when I put the seats down, I push them forward. There you go. There is a massive great lip there. So if you want to slide anything in, it's not going to happen. And also, the lip here is huge. So everything you're going to put in here is just going to go plop and drop down there. Secondly, all this is going to get scratched because there's nothing to go over it to stop it from scratching. So it's going to look terrible inside about 6-8 months if you own one of these. This is all going to be scratched. It's not really a good design. There's no 12-volt adapters in the back here. There aren't even any tether points in the back here. So it's really not ticking the boxes we need it to tick for the money that you're paying for this type of vehicle. Anyway, let's jump in the back and see how comfortable it is for the passengers, because I'm sure, knowing Peugeot, it's going to be super comfortable. So here we are in the back for the passengers, and as I expected, the seats are quite comfortable. However, you do need to make sure that your little headrest is pushed right up, because otherwise it gets in the back of your neck there, like I just had there. And it's quite nice. You've got plenty of leg room underneath the seat in the front there. And I love the way these seats have actually been shaped. So your knees, you're getting that extra little bit of knee room because it is quite tight, everything in here. And when we're talking about tight, I think once these seats have settled in a little bit, you do get a reasonable amount of headroom in this car. But what you don't get, if you see the shape of this roof, where it rolls around like this, if you're sitting up here, if you go around a corner too fast, then you're going to hit your head like that. It's probably the idea is you could just put your head like that and hang on, because back in the days of driving one of these when it was a 205 GTI, I'd have had to hang on like that, and it would have been a good way of keeping my head in the right position to see where I was going. Okay, joking apart, reasonable sized windows. They've got a little tint in them as well, so it's going to try and keep it a bit cooler in the back here during the summer. There's no independent heating in the rear or cooling, so it might get a little bit warm and toasty in the summer months. The door itself, well, it's a rather small door, so you do tend to, it's quite difficult to get in and out of this car, because if you look the angle as well, and you can see I'm actually going to have to go like that to get out. You've got to, you know, sort of thing that I mentioned to my yoga instructor, that I need a little bit more. Yeah, I think you get the point there. It comes with ISOFIX points, and they are the ones that are hidden behind zips here. Now, I reckon inside a year, with the kids jumping in and out of here and people playing around with them, they're going to break as well. So you're probably not going to be able to get access to that. But then, you know, I'm sure they'll sell you something at Peugeot that will fix that. Also, I've noticed that the seat belts don't sit back in. They are designed to be hidden down there, but for some reason they just keep popping back out again. There's sort of like a little bit of a design fault on that as well. The finish is not bad. I like the stitching, and the material itself is quite smooth and nice. And also all the finishing around here is reasonable quality. You don't get the armrest with the double cup holder, unfortunately, so you're forever going to be sitting like that when you get a little bit tired. What you do get, and I was quite impressed with this, are 2 USB charging ports here, which is great if you've got 2 youngsters in the back here, or even adults that need to plug their utensil pieces in, like their little iPads and their phones and things like that. However, on the electric version of this, it's just another 2 added things to drain that battery when you've got passengers who want to charge their phones up. And trust me, if you've got your phone in the front and all the windscreen wipers and everything, it's going to be a mad dash from Sainsbury's to see if you can make it back home. Sainsbury's, by the way, if you're watching this overseas, is one of our large supermarket chains, one that I actually prefer. Even though you'll find that Sainsbury's don't actually have charging points. It is the Morrison's brand who have them. We'll talk about that when we get it out on the road, because that's quite interesting. It's a good point. Another reason I go on at manufacturers about saving money and putting it into things like the Space Saver wheel. Again, you know, these things that they used to be for maps and books. Books, yes. I remember as a kid, hours of driving was the best way to make you car sick, was your parents to put books in there that you were told to read, like the RSPB bird watching book. Oh, I spy with my little, you know, and out it would all come because you're trying to read, you know. Oh, I spotted a magpie. Oh, there you go. Sorry, sister, covered in puke. Oh, well. Legroom wise, well, it's difficult to get around in here. Large transmission tunnel in the middle. And to be honest, I don't think you're going to get 3 people in the middle. It is one of those where, you know, this is becoming more than a party in the back, if you get my drift. I think I'd rather just stick to the 2 adults or 2 large children either side. Guys, let's get round the front and see what it's like up front for the driver, because this, at the end of the day, is a Peugeot 208 and its heritage comes from the old 205. So it's got to be pretty good. Let's go find out. Up front, I just knew it was going to be absolutely amazing in here. I love the steering wheel. It's such a futuristic shape. We'll start on the right-hand side of the steering wheel, because you've got the telephone control here. You've got a scroll button here. The car itself, should mention, by the way, it is keyless, but we'll put it on in a minute so you can see it all light up. You've got the list here on the side, and then you've got your, just all bits and pieces, nice little bits and pieces over there. On the left here, you've got the Hi Siri button, as I call it. Not if you're an Android user, obviously. Then it's, hey Alexa. That's over there, so you can just shout that at the car. You don't actually shout the name, you just go, tell me I want to listen to the Bangles or something. I don't know, whatever you like listening to. Again, another scroll button there. You can go through the radio stations and your media centres, stuff like that. And below it, there is another 2 buttons. One is volume up and volume down. Pretty simple, isn't it, really? Let's have a look, see how much you've got movement in here. I'm just trying to point, there it is. So, yeah, it's reasonable, backwards and forwards, but not a lot on the up. And the problem is, with this Peugeot steering wheel, that top bit there is right in your field of view. So unless you don't mind driving around like you're driving, like you're sitting on a little go-kart or something, then that's constantly going to be in the way, which is a shame, because when you look at that, this is the new Peugeot iCockpit 3D dashboard. You almost drive it like, you know, it just feels like you want to get hold of this. And this one's got the 10.3 infotainment system, the bigger screen. because the more you go up those trim levels, which we're going to talk about in a second, the bigger the screen gets and things like that, and you get extra bits and pieces, which is really nice. You've got your your wipers on the right here, your lighting systems are on the left here, simple auto side lights, and then you've got your fog lights and things like that. They're all on that stick there. Just below it down there is your cruise control, and again, when you're driving along straight, you can't actually see it's there. You wouldn't even know it was there, so you have to learn how to use it without looking. And trust me, for a man trying to use his fingers without looking, takes a few years. Ladies, you'll probably appreciate where I'm going with that one. In the centre section here, well, we do get a rather large cubby, and it's deceiving because when you look at it, it looks tiny, but when you actually put your hand in there, look, you can almost lose half your arm in there. I was absolutely shocked. I didn't believe that. And you've got a little thing for your coins there, which is rather nice, isn't it? You can just pop that out. Not that we use coins anymore these days for anything, but it's there. Nevertheless, it's there. Nice bit of scratchy piano black. I called it scratchy piano black because, again, guys, you know, I don't want to be the harbinger of bad news all the time, but you'd think by now the manufacturers start to realise that this stuff scratches. It looks nice when you first buy it, but for the guy who's buying it 3-4 years down the line, this ends up getting scratched and marked. Call it piano black. Get rid of it. Let's get something nice in here, something a bit decent. Okay, so you get a different drive mode on here, so you can change your drive mode over there. You've got a double cup holder. One's slightly higher than the other because I think that one's for an energy drink and that one's for your water. So one's healthy, one's unhealthy. A couple of different gearbox designs on the Peugeot 208. You get a 6-speed manual. You get an 8-speed auto. And obviously with the electric version, you get no gearbox at all because it's just forward and backwards and park. Pretty simple really, isn't it? All of them work absolutely seamlessly. Personally, I like the 8-speed auto. It's one of the better gearboxes I think Peugeot have ever made. Get a 12-volt adapter down here, which is quite handy, and quite a nice area here to put bits and pieces. Then, if you push this like that, this is a great bit. This little section here is perfect. I'm going to reach over because I want to show you guys. I'm going to grab my mobile phone. Watch this, because it's this, I call it the perfect accident scenario. So you can now rest your phone there, and guess what? You can look down and you can push it and you can do things while you're going along, and then all of a sudden you'll be watching YouTube or something and smash, because they've made it so easy for you to watch your phone. I think that is very, very dangerous. Guys, don't do it. Don't use it. Just inside there's a wireless charger. Put the phone in there and shut it away and turn it off. Let it charge up while you're driving. Use your hands free. Don't have your phone there so you can view it. I know what you're going to say. You're going to go, well, what about the maps? Well, there is a point to that, but then go up the next level in the trim level and you get the maps. I know a lot of reviewers have gone, you don't need the maps, you can use Waze, we can use Google. Well, yeah, you can, but then you've got to look down, haven't you? Because it's there and you're driving along like that. And what's going to happen? You're going to have an accident. So invest in a map for your car. It's, you know, makes sense. You get 2 USBs, one either side here. Again, in the electric version, more things to drain that battery. I love the little piano thing across here. They call it the piano keys. They are touch sensitive as well, and they're really good. The original ones I didn't like because you couldn't see over the top, but on these ones, you've actually got it as perfect. You can see all what's going on. You can memorize it as well. Glove box, let's have a look in the glove box. Okay, so luckily, no big, well, it's tiny, isn't it? I mean, what a waste of space that is. I'm not really that bothered. Let's put the power on. Oh, there we go, and it's going to fire up for me now. As I said, it's keyless. There we go. I think I've turned it off again because I did it too quick. It takes a while for things to happen in this car. I just want to show you the screen I like because it really is a nice screen. I'm always banging on about the reflection in the screen and the sticky fingers. Somehow, Peugeot have managed to get one of these that you don't actually have that problem. The screen, now, to turn the screen on, you have to use 3 fingers, apparently. Nothing seems to be working, so that's a good start, isn't it? We'll try again. Keep rolling, cameraman, because I'm going to get this, and the guys want to see it in real time. And there you go. Energy economy mode activated. System is going to switch off. No, don't. There we go. Stopped it this time. Oh, it's gone again. So it does have an energy saving mode. Okay, we'll talk about that later when we get out on the road. It's good, it works, there's no lag, trust me. I like all the finish on this as well. It's really nice. It's got like this faux carbon fibre around here. And when you actually pull the door to, it sort of continues all the way around here. Let's get this car out on the road. Let's go and have a drive of it and see what we think of this new little Peugeot 208. So here we are, guys, big smile on my face. We're out on the road in the E208, and I've got to say, it's loads of fun. It's like driving a little Dodgem, like a bumper car. I don't know if you've ever been to the fair, and you just put your foot down and it goes. And believe it or not, that 8 seconds 0 to 60 feels a lot quicker when you're in this car, especially when you're in the sport mode. It's absolutely phenomenal. There's no gearbox in this, as you're probably aware. There's forward, there's reverse, and there's park. Oh, and by the way, if you don't put the handbrake on when you pull it into park, the alarm signal is horrendous. It will absolutely petrify you. It's almost like you've broken out of prison or something. You expect a load of guard attack dogs to suddenly appear and guys with koshes and guns and like, get on the floor, guy. It really is like, beep, beep. I'm not even going to demonstrate it. It drives me mad. Just watch out for that. Pull the handbrake on when you pull up. There you go, as a tip for you. Couple of bits and pieces I like and a couple of pieces I don't like on this car. The first thing, don't forget this car is generic, so it's not just the electric car. It is exactly the same for the petrol, the diesel, it's the same car. Although the 208 was designed as an electric car originally, and then they thought, well, we're going to sell loads of these, we might have to give people the option of petrol or diesel. And, well, you've got the option there. That's the nice thing. But this is the electric. A couple of bits I don't like. First of all is this big blind spot here. And it's both sides, and it's really difficult. It's quite a thick pillar in the centre here. When you're trying to pull out of a junction, it really does hinder your view. You have to literally move forward like that if you're going to, see your way out. Secondly, up, which is another big faux pas on my tick lists, no blind spot mirrors. Come on, manufacturers, we need blind spot mirrors. We don't need handbooks in the glove box. They take up room, they cost a lot of money to produce. I know that. In a previous life, that's what I used to do, was print and produce big handbooks for a major company. They cost a fortune. We can do it all online now. If I need to find something out, even the logbook and everything can just be thrown away now because it's all done online or via computer. You don't need them stuck in the car here. We never look at them. Don't even, if you want to change a fuse, well, go online and just ask. It takes 2 seconds. You do it on your mobile. And I'm sure you'll find the answer to anything you want to know about one of these cars. Someone's done something about it. So blind spot mirrors, if you did away with those books, they could include that. You don't get them on this car until you get up into the GT line, because there's 4 different levels of trim that you get on this car. You've got like the Active is the entry, got the Allure, which is the second one up, then you go GT line, and then you go GT, and then there is a premium version that you can add on to that for the different bits and pieces you get in here. So if you're going as you go slightly, you get more USB points, you get the wireless charger. The basic, you do get the aircon and you do get a screen. But you don't start getting this lovely 3D cockpit until you go up onto the Allure, and then it's from there and upwards that you start getting all the nice little bits and pieces. But don't forget, and this brings me nicely to my next little piece that I want to talk about, don't forget that everything you add extra on this car is a battery sucker. That's exactly what it's going to do. It's going to drain the life out of your battery. Because although this battery is showing me currently at 84 miles, that's all I've got left, if I start using that windscreen wiper or the heater, which is all turned off, that's why it steams up every now and then, because I'm trying to save the battery, and there's a reason for that, which we will talk about in a minute, then you really don't want all those extra bits and pieces. One of the things, that I've always said about electric cars is don't trust the range, because that might say 68, 78, 98, whatever. As soon as you start putting bits and pieces on, if it starts raining and gets cold, you're going to have to put the heater on, you're going to have to put the windscreen wipers on, you're going to have to put lights on. Sucks the battery out. You're going to end up with half of that. Now that's what happened to me only the other day. So the other day this car was delivered. Fantastic. It was nice and clean, it looked lovely. And the first thing I did was I wanted to give it a little bit of charge, because all it had was about 50, 60 miles of range on it, and I thought I need to charge it. Now, most of these cars come with that trickle charger that I mentioned when we were talking about in the boot. No trickle charger with this car, totally extra. And the guy who delivered it said, I'm terribly sorry, but they didn't give me one. So I said, well, what am I supposed to do? He said, well, you need to go to your local charging stations, right? Okay, so I need to sign up for energy. Yes, I'll leave it with you. See you later. And he left me. I thought, well, that's not going to be a problem. I'm pretty canny when it comes to the modern things, the apps and things like that. I know what I'm doing. So I did. I found my local, I used an app called Zap. Wonderful, absolutely amazing app. Tells you where all the charging stations are. Fantastic. Problem is, they're all owned by different companies. So you can't just sign up to one company, because when you turn up, it doesn't accept your payment. So you've got to sign up to another company, and then another one. And so every single one you sign up to, if you're out on the road, you can end up signing up to about 40, 50, even 60 different companies. It's completely crazy. And some of them make you pay money up front. Oh, yes. Yes, you have to put some money on deposit. Not like you want to charge and pay. Oh, no, 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 no. There is a certain company that I use called Genie, and they demand you put £10 on your account, which I thought, okay, fine, I'll do it. It was, my local Genie was at my Morrison's supermarket, and I thought, well, that's wonderful. So that's what we'll do. We'll go to the Morrison's, you know, one of our local supermarkets. It was showing me on Zap, it had 3 lovely chargers there, all work, you know, all said it was all working, comments and everything. Wonderful, love it. Put my £10 on, and off I went. Bearing in mind, remember I said I had between 50 and 60 miles of range left. I then arrived at said charger. I put my £10 on, and what did it say? Terribly sorry, it's out of order. Why didn't they tell me? So I think, all right, don't panic, don't worry. Now I need to find another charging station, because I'm now down to 38 miles on my range. So I then look on Zap and oh, there's a BP one, and I don't need to put any money on deposit for that. I can go to a BP petrol station, and they've got 3 chargers. That's exactly what I did. Another 12 miles later, I finally get there. I think, phew, I'm here. Wonderful. What a lovely, you know, lovely sight. These 3 chargers, gleaming new, out of order. At this point, I started the anxiety, the range anxiety kicked in big time, because I'm now down to around 26 miles of range, and I need to get back. So I tried 3 or 4 other stations, different service providers, all different. Not one of them was the same. So I was signing up to so many. I actually signed up to 6 different service providers. That's how crazy this is. Absolutely, completely bonkers. I managed to get home, and I thought to myself, I really need to get some charging. I had about 12 miles left. That was it. I couldn't even go to the shops anymore. And I didn't know what to do. And then I thought, I've got a friend who has a Porsche that he charges. It's one of those electric sort of hybrid-y Porsche thingies. Lovely car. Couldn't afford one, but... So I rang him and said, hi Mike, any chance I could pop round and use your charger? And he went, of course you can. Just bring it round and stick it on the drive. Now here comes the problem. You see, these things, they're only like sort of 7 kilowatt trickle charger type things, a bit similar to the 13 amp one, slightly more, obviously, because it's been fitted. It costs around £500-600 to have said unit fitted. Not for the Porsche, it's even more, but we won't talk about that. It's nothing to do with Porsche today. But I've checked up on the Peugeot one. Home charger, about £500-600 fitted. There are a few government initiatives as well that you can get, but we'll talk about it another time. So I went round there, and do you know what? 9 hours. 9 hours, and I got 169 miles out of it, range. That was it. That was the end of the story. That's all I got. And then I went out the next day, and I burnt 80 miles of range, because I had the windscreen wipers on, I had the lights on because it started raining, and I had to have the heater on because it was freezing, and my fellow passenger was absolutely freezing and begged me to put the heat on. So not a pleasant experience in this car, I'm afraid. I think the way forward is, you know, you've got to also remember that electricity isn't produced, you know, eco-friendly, shall we say. In the future, when we have wind power, solar power, tide power, water power, whatever you want, and full natural nuclear power, that would be brilliant. Brilliant. And this, you know, and then get all the service providers from the electricity, get it monopolised by the government or something. So one authority looks after them all. Because when you ring these people up, they just tell you to send emails reporting the problem. No one actually comes out and fixes the problem. And basically, I looked into this, it's just a fuse. People put it in, pull it out too quickly. They're not sure what they're doing, and they blow the fuse on these units. It's so stupid. It takes 5 minutes to fix, but nobody wants the responsibility. It's such a shame. But going back to the fact that the power is still produced by fossil fuels, majority of the power is produced by oil burning and gas burning power plants, power stations. So you're not really helping the planet at the moment, but in the future you will be. The only way you are helping it is by the CO2 emissions. So you are helping a little bit. And I think if you were going to buy one of these cars, as much as I love this little E-208, you'd only be using it really as a second or even third car to go to the school, to do, you know, to do the shopping run, as if you can get charged at Morrison's, for example. Oh, if you're watching this from abroad, Morrison's is like a big Walmart type place. It's just your typical supermarket. There are plenty of other supermarkets available. I'm not allowed to punt one single one. It just happens that's where the charger was. So I think it's just going to be a third car running around, you know, and we couldn't even get the golf clubs in the back. So you're not even going to go up and use it as a golf buggy. I don't think it'd do 18 holes on the golf course. It'd run out of charge. Like I said, I love the little car. It's been cracking. It's good fun to drive, but just not yet. I think 20, 25 years down the line. There's other options that you can go through, and I think the big oil companies have poo-pooed those to keep us away from them. I beg the question with a hydrogen car. There you go. I'll leave you on that note. You've been watching me, AJ the Player. Thank you for watching, guys. I really appreciate it. I hope you've enjoyed this review of the E-208, Peugeot's little electric buggy, as I'm now called it. We do tons and tons of videos. This isn't just a one-off. You probably gather this is like, you know, part of our job. And we are part of a much bigger organisation called The Player. And before you go, because I'm going to give you something for free here, The Player produces a 200-page magazine. It's called a bookazine, and it's for men, for guys. And it's got cars, it's got boats, it's got golf, it's got wine, it's got food, it's got everything in it that us guys absolutely love. And I'm sure you're going to love it. And you can have it for free because you watch me on YouTube. And you don't even need to subscribe. You just go on there, just put your name in and your email, and you can download it. You can do whatever you want. No data capture, you know, it's just simply so you can access it. That's all it's about. So go to, www.theplayer.co.uk. There you go. It's coming up down there now. There you go. Just pop over there, go to subscribe, bang, done, easy. Name, email, you're in, and then you can have a look at that. 200 pages of quality reading and pictures for you guys. You're going to love it. Ladies, if you're watching, please help yourself, but it is primarily a male content. That's all I will say. There's nothing untoward, nothing rude, or anything why our lady friends can't go there and enjoy it too. So enjoy it, fill your boots. Like I say, you've been watching me, AJ the Player. Don't forget, like, subscribe, and comment. And if you could give us a thumbs up, really appreciate it, guys, because I don't get paid any extra. I don't get a bonus from YouTube or Google or anybody like that. But it's just a nice pat on the back to say to our bosses and our sponsors, job well done, guys. So thumbs up would be really helpful. Cheers. Don't forget, if you want more, if you want notifications, leave the bell sign unchecked, and you'll get a little bing bong to let you know we put up another video every time we put one up, which is quite regular on these days. Thoroughly enjoy doing these videos. And on that note, next week I'll be back with yet another Peugeot, believe it or not. You're going to enjoy this one. So I'll catch you next week. Don't forget, be safe, drive carefully, guys, and above all, enjoy life. See you later, guys.